Now this is the first time I've had one of these on the road. And let me tell you, with this little car, there's more than meets the eye. This is the Alpine A110, a mid-engined, rear-wheel drive pocket rocket, forged with agility and motorsport in mind. Coming in at just over a tonne, the French outfit have crafted a truly nimble driver's car. And I'm here to tell you, this car needs to be in the conversation for best supercar on the market. Let's look at some numbers. 0 to 62 in 4.2 seconds. But that rewards you with 300 brake horsepower, and it's all accentuated and heightened because the car's so small. As I'm driving through these twisty little roads here, pushing the car and leaning on it, you can really feel the 340 newton meters of torque coming back through the dual wishbone suspension as I load it up into each corner. The A110, well, it commands the road, but the driver is in control. The handling of the Alpine is first class, and due to its size, they can put smaller wheels and tyres on, which really let you feel just how delicate this car is. The GT version is so chic, as my French brothers would say. The leather interior brings an extra element of class to the car, which I think the other ones lack just a little bit. It's sophisticated, yet it's a chameleon. It turns heads, which is what you're wanting if you're going to shell out £65,500 to buy a brand new one. But not because of its sporting lines or its aggressive front end, because it's different. The A110 has been compared to Marmite, but I personally don't see how anyone wouldn't fancy this car. It's a stunner. But its superpower doesn't come in being attractive, it comes in its versatility. This car is an all-rounder to its very core. Just letting the brakes cool down and taking in some of the view here. Now don't scoff or be a mouth breather when you find out that this car only has 300 brake horsepower, because when you're driving these machines, you're going to soon realise that you don't need any more power. When you push that pedal, the car doesn't protest. How very un-French. The braking system is impeccable, and on these B roads, the GT version feels nimble and comfortable. The combination of 320mm ventilated discs and Brembo calipers removes that little voice inside your head telling you to brake earlier. You can push this car further than you think, and Alpine know that because this car has been race bred for over 50 years. Back in 1973, when the A110 crossed the line first in the WRC Monte Carlo Rally, the rest of Europe scratched their head in confusion while the French laughed at our expense. Everyone knew the Escort was quicker, but the Alpine was lighter, much lighter. And Alpine continue that ethos today. The reason this Alpine can stand tall against your Porsche or Lotus is because they execute their plan so well. When the A110 returned to the public eye after a long hiatus, it gave the automotive industry a big shake-up, because a sports car that focused on efficiency was not really a trend. But Alpine have stuck to their guns. In 2019, they brought out the S model with even more power. This example here is the GT, which is certainly comfier for someone in their mid-20s, give or take a couple of decades. Now the car's built in Normandy in France, which is northern France, in a place called Dieppe, and that's where Renault have always had Alpine based. Kind of the same terrain as what we have here, so it would be tested on the same roads and also the same weather climate that we have in Scotland sometimes. It also shares the same engine that's in the Renault Megane RS, the 1.8 turbocharged car. Renault very much keeping it in the family. Why would you buy a French turbocharged 1.8 litre car in a world that's full of twin-turbo, six-cylinder German and Italian beasts? Well, Alpine, they're trying to cater to a completely different audience. You can't put this car in the same box as the carbon fibre hypercar in the collector's garage that's going to gather dust. And it's also not up against the ringmasters, trying to get that ultimate lap time around the Nürburgring with a professional driver. Now, there's no denying the Alpine is incredibly cool, something that a lot of manufacturers have kind of forgotten about with modern cars. You'd have seen Steve McQueen and Sean Connery behind the wheel of this car looking pretty happy. Now, I've been a resident of Knockhill for over 20 years and I've driven all sorts of different cars around the circuit. But if you buy an Alpine A110 from Arnold, there's some goodies up for grabs. It could be entry to owner events, priority entry as well. You could get free event tickets to Knockhill Racing Circuit. You may also get asked to come to the circuit and be with a professional driver on track. So while I'm here, I thought we'd jump in the sporty car and give it a bit of fun around the circuit. Catch me if you can. This is my happy place. How cool is this little car? It feels like it should be on the track all the time. It feels like it's at home on the track. The famous Knockhill Racing Circuit in the Alpine A110S that we have got today. Beautiful little car. It's just made for track driving. So nimble, so light, so agile. And I feel like I'm in a race car. Bum's low to the ground, the steering wheel's high, it's back towards me. You hear the engine working over your shoulder. You've got that acceleration noise. You've also got the bark from the airbox. There's nothing better when you see a full grid of touring cars over the crest of this hill down towards Duffy's Dip for the first time. One of my favourite corners in the UK. Why? Because you've got to be brave. You've got to attack it with some gusto. Get the car in, get her over the kerb, and you're already thinking about 2 corners later. The chicane, the world famous Knockhill chicane, the black circle chicane. Through we come. What's so good about that? Back in the day, you used to see touring cars on 2 wheels almost halfway up the back straight because they'd be launching over the big curbs that used to be at that corner. Track safety improvements for bikes and cars. Those curbs are gone. Somehow though, the touring cars still go through there on 2 wheels. This little car eats up the laps, eats up the corners. And then the hairpin. One of the best places to watch as well because this is where the last lap lunge, or manoeuvre as racing drivers call it, happens. Somebody comes thundering down the inside of you, you're door to door with them round the last corner, and then it's a dash for the line, up towards the checkered flag. It's a long climb up the hill here. Do you have enough power? Well, the Alpine A110S has, that's for sure. The hip-line centre of gravity, the turbocharged engine or the lightweight design philosophy, they all add up to more than the sum of their parts for the Alpine. It encourages you to drive, it asks you to drive, but it also wants you to flow between corners. Whether it's the GT for a daily driver for you because it's maybe a little bit more refined and sophisticated, or the S which offers you a bit of a track-focused vibe, the question to me is, would I buy one? The way the Alpine flatters your driving, it holds onto gears between corners, the engine howls and the airbox growls behind you. It's an experience that you really need to have. The French would describe it as a certain je ne sais quoi. For me, I'd say it's the spirit of Alpine, and for that, my answer would be an emphatic oui. My name's Duncan Vincent, this has been the Arnold Clark YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And until next time guys, safe driving.